Good evening, IL family, and welcome back to your Inclination Life broadcast here with Lady Tamil / Coach Tamil, where we talk about positive living via simple truths. And so tonight we're going to be talking about broken records. We are going to be talking about broken records in the term of when you hear that repetitive message over and over again. And so today I was driving along and I was listening to a powerful message on CD that someone had given me, and I was all into the message, and all of a sudden that CD skipped. Now I was driving, so I didn't take the time to pull it out or anything, but I was patient, and after a few minutes it went on and it played, and I didn't seem to miss anything. But it made me think about broken records. Now, I'm not going to be necessarily talking about broken records in their term, but there's so much that you can draw from that message to the things that you could be missing if it actually skips, to how it's not usable anymore, if it actually is broken, and all of that. But so tonight, when we were talking about broken records, I'm thinking about it in the context of, have you ever been talking to someone, or is there someone in your life, and every time you talk to them, they are saying the same thing, they got the same message, and it almost becomes a drag, because we use this term called a broken record. So usually when we say someone is sounding like a broken record, we're usually talking about someone that is constantly saying the same things, almost to the point that it becomes annoying, and we're like, you sound like a broken record. Here you go again, here you go saying the same thing again. And so it made me kind of think, because we usually project that thing outwards, but what about when the broken record is actually us? What about when the voice that we're hearing constantly over and over saying the same things, saying the things that become annoying, is actually us, is actually our voice that's coming out? So for example, what if on tonight you are that person that keeps saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it, 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 and you become a broken record, and every time you turn around, you're saying you're going to do this thing, you're going to do this thing, you're going to do this thing, and you never actually do it. And you may even not only share it with yourself, but you're sharing it with other people, and to the point that after a while, when you keep saying you're going to do a thing and you don't do it, people actually tune out. Well, do you know that you also tune out from your own self when you keep telling yourself that you're going to do a thing and you don't do it? There's a difference between perseverance and determination, which keeps us pushing towards something. And then there's that place, there's that fine line where we cross over into excuse. We cross over into that place where we become that broken record to ourselves, because we keep saying the same things. We keep proclaiming the same things over our life, but we're not actually doing anything with it. And so we become a broken record. And so even though the message that we continue to give ourselves may be something that's very positive, uplifting, something that we need to say to ourselves, because we are not actually doing anything with it, we become a broken record. We become sounding like a broken record to our very own selves. We become an annoying voice to our own self, because we keep saying we're doing a thing. And just like we get frustrated when we hear that person that is doing that, that's coming talking about the same thing over and over, we get that same impression with ourselves when we keep saying the same things and it's never happening. And so the formal definition of a broken record is used to refer to a person who is annoying and has a constant repetition of a particular statement or opinion. And so when you think about being into like the groove, and I'm going to use like a record, like, a vinyl record or even a CD on today, and you think about being into the groove of the record, or the groove into what you're listening to. And I want you to consider yourself to be that record. You to consider yourself to be that thing that is playing, that lifelong thing that is going along and moving, and it's a beautiful sound, or whatever it's intended to do. It's a beautiful speech, or whatever you're listening to, and all of a sudden it hits that place where it scratches, and you're hearing that same thing over and over, and you're waiting patiently for it to get past that point. Or maybe it's doing it like at your very favorite part of the song or whatever. Don't you know that in your life, when you become that broken record, especially when you are continuing to be a broken record in areas where perhaps God has called you to move forward in, when you're becoming a broken record in areas where you know that if you would just move past this point, that it will take you to a place that you need to be in your life, that it would take you further to something great, that it would help you to move forward. But yet you get stuck at this place where you become a broken record in your life, and you need to push past that thing. And so in saying that, when we do that, sometimes the patience that we have, like with others, and even the patience we have as we wait for the album to continue. We lose that patience. And even with ourselves, we oftentimes lose the very patience that it takes to focus and make sure that we push past that point. And this is what I want to encourage us in on tonight, is that if you are that person on tonight, that you're constantly saying the same things over your life, but you're really not doing anything with it. You're saying it with your lips, but you're not following it up with your actions. You're not following it up with faith. And faith, it takes action. It takes things manifested. You're just constantly saying things. You're just constantly putting that same thing out there. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. You may be one of those people that get up and you post about it, or you shout it to the world that I'm going to do this, and you never do it. I want you to stop being that broken record, and I want you to push yourself past that point so you can get on to the next part of the song of your life, so you can get on to the next place in your life and get back into the groove of things, get back into your life, whatever that is for your life. I reach points like that in my life where seems like I get stuck on a point where it seems like the DJ of my life is using my life to do a scratch, and it seems like I'm in that repetitive place where I sound like a broken record. But what it takes is pushing past that point to move on in your life. And I was researching a little bit because in my mind, I know back in the day, you could do things, and I think it was alcohol or something. You could wipe off the CDs and they would play again or whatever. And I was wondering, if a vinyl record broke, could you repair it? And there is a process to repair it, but it's very intricate. It's very delicate. It takes things. And so what I want to encourage you in on tonight is that maybe you're in that place in your life where it seems like it's a broken record, where it seems like it's repeat, where it seems like you can't move past this point. And it's going to take a delicate, intricate process that I believe only the Holy Spirit can do through you. But if you got to allow God to do it, and you got to allow God to help you to push past that repeat point that you're at, where you're saying things with your mouth, but you're not following it up with your actions. You're saying things, but it's like you're stuck in a place. You're saying things, but you're not moving forward. You're saying things, but maybe something has a hold of you, like fear or excuse or whatever, and you need to push past that point. I want to tell you that just like that vinyl record can be repaired and it can be used again, you in your life, you can push past this place that you're in where you sound like a broken record, even to your own self, and you can push to the place so that you can see, so that you can hear the beautiful melody of your life that continues if you would just push past this point on tonight. And I wanted to leave us with this one thing, that the only time that we in our lives should settle for a broken record, which means hearing something over and over, hearing something repetitive and not expecting anything, is when we are hearing the voice of God. That is the only time that we should be okay in our lives, hearing something repeated, hearing something go on and on and on. That is the only time in your life. And I don't call that a broken record. I call that the best record of life, when you hear the voice of God repeating the same thing to you over and over and over. He tells us in John 10, he tells us that his sheep know his voice and he knows them and they follow him. And he follows that up with the things that he's promised, such as eternal life and us being in his hands. And so on tonight, I don't know if you have become a broken record to yourself. I pray not so, but we all hit those places in our life where if we step back and we observe and we recognize and we realize that we are becoming a broken record that is saying the same things, but we're not following it up with anything. I want to encourage you to ask God to help you to push past that place that you're in so the record of your life can continue on tonight. I pray that this has been encouraging to you. I hope that you will continue. And I wanted to leave you with this point. I looked this up, and there's this broken record thing goes a little bit further. There's a broken record they call it a broken record technique. And it's actually used by some teachers where they'll say, have a seat, and they'll keep repeating that until the student actually follows through with the action. They use this broken record technique for assertiveness. And I believe that's how we can parallel to God, because when God continues to say something to us, he's saying it with an assertiveness. He's saying it with absolute authority because he wants us to get it. And he keeps on saying it until we actually get it. So I believe God is the only one that can properly use that technique on us and it benefit us in our lives. So once again, thank you for tuning in on tonight, and I pray that this has been encouraging to you. I pray that you'll push yourself past the point. You'll ask God to help you, and you'll get past those places in your life where you're repeating that same message, but you're not seeing any action. You're not following up with anything. And I hope you'll tune back in with me next week as we have another conversation about positive living via simple truths. Have a good night, everybody.